And now we will listen to our last speaker, is Emil Wannheden, Swedish Defense Research. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, or FOI, as we're called in Swedish, FOI, Swedish Defense Research Agency. I'm an economist and analyst. I work with a group of researchers, and we, the most important task we have at this Russia project where I work is to try to assess Russia's military capability. It's something we've been doing for some decades. And I'm an economist, but we have also military analysts and political scientists who do this. And we, for us, looking at the Russian economy is very important to understand what's going on in Russia, but also how to understand how the economy is contributing to Russia's military capability. And I think this report is it's really an excellent contribution to understanding Russia's economy, and especially what I really like about it is that it dives a little deeper into the statistics and explains what's problematic with them and how we need to try to think about alternative statistics and the critical thinking there, because I think most of us understand that the statistics are not really reliable, but for what reasons should we not trust them? And it's an important moment now because it's 2.5 years since invasion, and we see a little bit of tiredness in some parts of the alliance. And I think we have to recognize that this narrative about the Russian economy that's strong, sometimes it's been amplified also by politicians in the West. So it's really important to continue with building support for the sanctions and understanding of the economy. And as you see, it takes time to explain why we can't trust the GDP numbers. Torbjörn just got to his equation there and they had to stop. So this is, it illustrates the difficulty of meeting Russian propaganda, because it's very easy for them to just throw out numbers, and then we have to spend a lot of time to try to debunk these. So getting the communication right from our side is very difficult on the sanctions and what we think about the economy, but it's very important. Perhaps we should stop talking about the GDP numbers for a while, because for me it's unclear what they even mean. And not just because they are fudged, but also because Russia is a country which is in a war. There's so much going to the war machine and to the... It's a country which is completely different to a developed country in Western Europe. So comparing these numbers doesn't make much sense. And I try to talk also to Russians or people who travel in Russia and also outside the big cities. And while the Russian government has managed to fool some people in the West about their economy, I don't think they're really fooling Russians inside of Russia, because sure, you can lie about inflation, but people still need to go buy food, right? And you see prices go up, you see what salary you get, and it's very evident that there are a lot of imbalances. The salaries in the defense industry are going up, others are stagnating. You see also these imbalances with men disappearing. Traditionally, jobs that are done by men, such as driving trucks, for example, are done by women. And there's a kind of things that you can see in a small Russian town, for example. And the statistics, language statistics, you can't really hide that. Torbjörn, the report is focused on macroeconomy, and that is, I think we need to continue. I think it was excellent suggestion to look at alternative proxies for looking at the macroeconomy. Also, other things we can look at. I think an important aspect of the Russian economy is also their infrastructure. That is really, they need to invest a lot in their infrastructure to get their economy to work, because they import a lot from China. This goes by rail, and it's already running at full capacity on the rail. So, you know, they have to spend a lot of money on military expenditure. At the same time, they have to spend a lot of money on infrastructure to repair it, to expand it, because they have to reorient their whole trade towards the east from the west. And this is very difficult. So there are a lot of constraints that Russia is facing. I wanted to say, also go into just comment, so well, why is it so important for us to get this right? And we all understand that the economy is a very important part of the war now against Ukraine. And I think it's excellent also that this report shows the differences in total economic strength between the coalition and Russia, because this means that this is actually a disadvantage for Russia. It's an Achilles heel, because Russia doesn't really have any friends as Ukraine does, because Ukraine gets a lot of financial support. They can get help from us, from the whole of EU, from the US, but Russia doesn't get anything for free. No one is giving them financial support. And people are saying China, Iran, North Korea, sure, they're trading with Russia, but they're not giving anything for free, at least what we know of, to Russia. So Russia still has to pay for the imports from China. And another point, which I think is interesting in this context, is about military expenditures. And this goes into what difficult situation the Russian government is in right now, because they are constantly increasing military expenditures, and they need to keep up the war effort in Ukraine. But it's very difficult for them to actually decrease them, to make it more sustainable, because decreasing it would mean, giving up on the military ambitions. It would mean lowering salaries to soldiers. It would mean more difficulty getting new soldiers to sign up. It would mean not expanding the defense industry. So you're basically handicapping your military potential, which is the only thing that Russia is relying on right now. And in addition, you would also undercut this giant fiscal stimulus that is keeping the economy going. So this is why I think it's unlikely that Russia will cut military expenditure, and they are almost forced to continue to increasing it, and therefore continuing to fuel these imbalances. So this is why I think that right now Russia is on a militaristic path, also for reasons of political economy, because the institutions that support or benefit from this military expenditure, they're also strengthened, so the defense industry, for example. And so this is another reason why it's important for us to understand the economy, is to understand what is happening inside of Russia and consequences for us in the West, in Europe, and for our security. Because if we manage to get the sanctions to work even better, and to constrain Russia's economy even more, that will have consequences for how much they will be able to build up their military potential in the coming decade. Because whatever happens in Ukraine, they will want to build up their military force again, and they even want to expand it, right? That's what they're saying. So it's incredibly important for us to try to limit the resources they have at their disposal to do so. And we can't really, we have to keep in mind that we can't really control how they use the resources they have inside of Russia. We can't influence that, but we can shrink the overall economic pie. Even though the economy is going badly, for me it's not going badly enough that I feel comfortable with it. I think it should be even worse, right? So this is why we need more, more sanctions. And what is worrying is also this trajectory with military expenditure, which will likely remain high, as I see it in Russia also, because it will be very, very difficult for any political leader in Russia to decrease them, even an eventual successor to the current president. So I will stop there, and thank you so much for organizing this. I think it's a great initiative.
Thank you. I will see. Try a new mic. Working now? Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.